Hello, welcome back to GSBA TV. I am Alicia Hernandez, and with me today is our amazing keynote speaker, Dr. Mike McGough. Welcome, Dr. McGough.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Could you tell us a little bit about your background and how you became a keynote speaker?
I started my career as a teacher, history teacher, went into school administration, and after about 30 years, went to a college. Throughout that good bit of that time period, I've also been a licensed guide with the Park Service in Gettysburg. Always been a great fan of history, and in the latter years of my time at the college, I got interested in the relationship between history and leadership. What can we learn from history that would help us in contemporary leadership, taking advantage of opportunities and meeting the challenges that 21st century leaders meet all the time?
So you mentioned history and leadership. Could you tell us a little bit? I believe that's what your speech was about.
Mm-hmm. We talked today, the subject today was personal leadership, and what are the attributes of very, very strong personal leaders. We took a look at 10 very strong personal leaders and how they developed into very capable and very strong organizational leaders. We talked about Abraham Lincoln, we talked about Henry Ford, we talked about Corrie ten Boom, we talked about Barbara Bush. And in looking at those notable historic figures, we're able to draw down personal leadership attributes. What type of people were they? How did they address their personal lives that made them very capable organizational leaders?
Now, you're also a published author, correct?
Yes.
And you have a book that's called The Art of You Leading You.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
The book basically goes through the 10 attributes of personal leadership. Then it takes a look at personal leadership at the strategic level, and there are 3 key strategies for personal leadership. Strategy number 1 is how do you manage your time? Strategy number 2 is how do you deal with interpersonal relationships? And strategy number 3 is how do you make the most of taking care of yourself? What are you doing in the area of self-care? And a lot of times when we think about taking care of yourself, that can tend to sound selfish, but it's based on the idea that if you're not taking good care of yourself, you're not going to be in a position or in a condition to help to care for others. And then it goes into various tactical approaches for meeting those 3 strategies.
So for our members that weren't able to attend the conference, what would be the top 3 takeaways that you would say?
I think to pull away from the 3 attributes, and if I were to pull 3 of those attributes out, I think number 1 would be the one that Abraham Lincoln teaches us very clearly. It's great to be independent, but at the same time, we've got to learn to be interdependent. We've got to learn to depend on each other. We've got to be willing to ask for help when we need it, and we've got to be willing to answer the call for help when we're called on. The next one I think I would go to, I think not Betty Ford, but Barbara Bush. I think hers is extremely important. Barbara Bush says very clearly, when you come to a roadblock, don't quit, find a detour. Mm-hmm. She talks about the whole notion of perfection, and good personal leaders are never stymied or never stalled by the fact that they can't hit perfection. They're willing to do the best that they can, and in that discussion we also mention what Mother Teresa, the lesson that she provides, and it's crystal clear. You may not be able to feed 100, but you can certainly feed 1. So doing the best that you can with what you have. And number 3, I think Jackie Robinson's lesson is a huge one, and it's one that he offers, and Georgia's own Jimmy Carter offers it as well. We have to be prepared in life for changing times, and things change, and we have to be prepared for that change. But as Jimmy Carter says best, we have to be able to change with the times, but we have to remain constant to unchanging principles. And as Jackie Robinson says, when we adapt, when we accommodate, and when we keep our cool, we make the absolute most out of change opportunities that come in life.
Now those are 3 great key takeaways. Is there anything else that you would like our audience members to know?
I think one of the lessons, and I guess one of the underpinnings for the entire personal leadership notion is, clearly, you're not the most powerful person in the world. And even though you're not the most powerful person in the world, you can be the most powerful person in your world. And if you do that, the power that you gain there is going to allow you to empower the organizations that you serve. And when individuals power organizations and the organizations get better, the individuals grow stronger, and we create a very positive upward spiral. That would be the key takeaway.
Well, thank you so much, Dr.
Thank
McGough,
you.
for being with us today. You shared very valuable information with us
Thank
today,
you.
and we appreciate that.
Pleasure was mine. Thank you very
so
much.
much. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.